4, 3.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and usually with me, my hetero life mate, all my feelings. How are you, sir?
You dirty, rotten bastard. Made me laugh right at the beginning, right before you got to the intro.
Gotcha. What is the Reel McCoy? You might ask. The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, you watch it, come back to us, and we break it down for you, and we spin it all around on our old comic book spinner rack. Yeah, another comic book reference for a guy who doesn't read comic books.
I know. I'm the one who should be making those. Come on.
I know, but I'm the host, co-host of the show. Hey, never mind. Last week we asked you to go and search a very, let's say, obscure. Do you want to call it obscure movie?
It's a very obscure film. Yeah, I will give it that.
Yeah, obscure movie called Big Night, written and co-directed by Stanly Tucci and Scott Campbell or Campbell Scott.
Campbell Scott was the co-director. The co-writer was Tibani.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And stars Stanley Tucci and Tony Shalhoub. What a great reference. And we'll say hello to the Salty Nerd Podcast Raid and Keely Chow and all the rest of you guys, lurkers, and all that stuff. Welcome to the show. Hope you enjoy yourselves. Grab a chair because this is going to be fun because we're talking about food and we're talking about commercialism versus, let's say, artisanship, right?
You could use that phrase.
Yeah. Anyway, it's sort of an indie film, but it is packed full of really well-known stars of the silver screen, I would say.
Well, what's odd is a lot of the stars that ended up coming in were not either that big at the time or were fading.
I mean, Ian Holm at the time, I think only Alien was big for him.
Yeah.
And he was big on the UK, British films, but was not really well known apart from his work as the android in Alien. And then he exploded later on with Lord of the Rings and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that also did Isabella Rossellini,
Isabella Rossellini. I've got
Allison Janney,
Allison Janney.
Mark Antony. What is
Yeah,
Cristiano? Huh?
yeah, exactly.
Even we have Liev Schreiber as just the doorman.
I think does he even have any speaking
He
role?
does not have a single line.
Monkey Chivas says, wasn't he in Spaceballs? Ian Holm? Not that I recall.
I don't remember him being in there. Mm-mm.
I mean, he wasn't President Scrooge, I'll tell you that much. By the way, happy birthday to Mel Brooks, 98 years old, a couple of days ago. That's a birthday. And one loss, Martin Mull died today, I think, or yesterday. Kind of a shame, really. I think I mentioned this on Twitter or on X or whatever it's called now. The last movie I've actually seen him in, or last anything I've seen him in, was the National Lampoon's half biopic kind of a thing. And when he came on screen, he says, "My name is blah blah blah," the name of one of the founders of National Lampoons, and I was like, I think your name is something else. Again, I didn't remember names, but it's like something. It's not this. And I didn't really know anything about the founders of National Lampoons. I kind of knew tangentially, but it's a really decent like biopic. Ends really horribly, but the highlight of it, and it's really fun, is Joel McHale plays Chevy Chase, which is tremendously funny if you've ever watched
Very
Community.
fitting. Yeah, that's very fitting.
And he does a fantastic job because he has him to a T. It's really, really good. All right. Big night. I managed to watch this film about a month ago, as I told you backstage, but I've managed to watch it twice moreover, and I had to watch it at 1.5 speeds because the movie is very, very, very slow.
Yeah.
How many times have you managed to watch it this week? Only once?
3.
3 as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me pull it up because I did not do that today. Very, very interesting. Again, it's a commercial film. I think it bombed. Pretty sure it
It
bombed.
really wasn't a commercial film. It actually did pretty well for itself. It was actually one of the non-Miramax indies that was in the 90s. And we'll talk about that in our first segment, which is
Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
Oh, thank you for working on your transitions, babe.
Hey, sometimes a segue has to be let in. You know?
All right. Behind the Screens is where we talk about everything that is behind the scenes, production stuff, creative stuff. And this week, we have about 2 minutes worth.
Maybe that.
All right. Cool. Take it away.
I would say that the most interesting thing about it is, thank you, Jillian. Thank you.
I was going to say.
There's massively conflicting information about the actual box office when it comes to this film.
Really?
Because it's standard that the budget was set at 4.1 million. Overall, that's categorically what it's listed at. But the gross is listed anywhere between 10 to 15 million.
Well, that's really conflicting because I saw 7 to 9.
See, again, multiple different sources have different bits of information.
It's so crazy. This movie is so weird in terms of like getting like basic information. Usually you either get like stuff that is like behind the scenes and no casting stuff, or you just have casting choices stuff, and that's about it. This time around, I've got just the one fact. I didn't even write it on my notes because it's just the one fact.
Well, I'm going to spoil that for you.
Go ahead.
Minnie Driver. Oh, Minnie Driver.
Yes.
She got the role of Phyllis Well, she was meeting with her casting agent, as
Uh,
you know.
and they
She
heard.
overheard Campbell Scott and Stanley Tucci arguing as the previous actress, who was Mary Louise Parker. If if anyone has seen the Showtime series Weeds, she was the lead actress in Weeds. She was also in Red 2.
Yeah, and
Um,
she also dies in Fried Green Tomatoes, and she also
oh
dies
yeah, yeah.
in the movie I don't remember what the name of, but it's with Drew Barrymore and Whoopi Goldberg. I don't remember the name of the movie, but she dies in both of them.
Fair.
That's how I know her, because I had to watch these chick flicks with the missus.
But Fried Green Tomatoes really, it is kind of a chick flick, but it's also just a great film. That's another film you need to watch. That's a really, really good movie.
I do need it. Yes.
But given the fact that she overheard the argument, she just happened to have a conversation with them, and they cast her on the spot.
Nice. That's really cool. That's like.
And the interesting thing was, she was only supposed to be in the United States for a weekend, doing promotional work from the film that she just got done wrapping.
You mean I was not supposed to be here today? That's
Yes.
funny, because I was just transitioning to Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's jab.
That's what you have. No, I have more. I have more.
No,
So
okay, go.
MGM was originally going to actually distribute the film, but Campbell, Scott, and Tucci flat out refused to change the ending of the movie.
Oh, okay.
There was actually supposed to be a happy ending.
Interesting. Having watched the film, not really fitting with what they planned throughout the thing. Yeah.
No, well, it was supposed to be that the newspaper man comes through.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
It is rumored, which is it's probably very true. Tucci began writing the script during shooting of Jury Duty because he hated being on the film set so much.
I think yes.
Because he didn't like the weasel.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The consultant chef on set was Gianna Scapin. He owned several different restaurants, mostly Gigi Torino in New York. But he actually taught Tony Shalhoub how to cook on set.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like Roy Choi in Chef.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. The only other thing I have is like some minor notes. This was Anthony Bourdain. Rest his soul. So that this was his favorite film featuring cooking of all time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably didn't see Chef then. And yes, hello to Jay in the chat. Yes, hello.
Everybody. And also, it's actually is noted as being the first film to highlight the concept of cooking, to put that in the forefront and push that narrative forward. So many directors moving forward, in fact, even no, I just forgot his name. So awful. The main actor and director of Chef,
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau mentioned this as his big inspiration to making Chef was Big Night. So.
Yes. Yes. All right. Cool. Let's just dive into the movie for a few minutes, and we'll introduce it, because that first scene was when, like I said, you suggested this movie to me. This is still June. This is basically my birthday month, and one of the things you suggested was this one, and you knew I didn't watch it before. I knew of it. Once I saw you told me that once I see the poster, you'll probably think you've seen it before or whatever. I've seen the poster of it. So the main poster, I have seen it, but if I have seen the movie, I didn't remember it. I think I didn't watch it when I was a kid. again, 96, I watched so many movies that were like not commercial and they just came up on cable.
Yeah.
So 96, 97, 98, all that stuff. I was like, I was in the army after 98. So when I came home, it was like I was watching movie after movie after movie just to recap whatever.
Mhm.
And I just, if I have seen it, I don't remember. So when I did watch it a month ago, I considered it my first time.
Well, I was going to also say too, one of the other films that I brought up were kind of in the same vein, which was Babette's Feast.
Yes, but
Yeah.
we also kind of played around with the cook, his mistress, her husband.
And
Yeah,
no, the cook, his wife, his mistress, and her lover. Yeah.
yeah, which I have seen.
Yeah.
Very good Helen Mirren movie. Where
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Mirren was in very, very top form in that movie.
yeah, yes. Anyway, as soon as I watched the first scene is kind of meandering, but it's there for a reason. As it kind of introduces us to the whole dynamic. I just have to share my screen here for a bit,
Well,
and you'll.
I love the fact that it also, too, in so many ways, kind of opens and closes with Cristiano.
Yeah,
Cristiano, and then the brothers, obviously, Primo.
yeah,
And Segundo.
kind of. It doesn't start here. It starts with Mark Antony's character, kind of.
Cristiano, yeah, because he's literally like, well, it was actually supposed to be initially also based in Yonkers, but it's clearly on the Jersey Shore because they could walk to the shore. I mean,
Yeah, it basically, yeah. It's sort of it's prime location now, but never mind. The whole movie is set in the 50s, early
Yes,
50s. I don't think it even says when exactly, but it's definitely early 50s when a lot of Italians after World War II, a lot of Italians kind of immigrated to the US, kind of looking their fame and fortune, the American dream. And we are introduced to Primo, Tony Shalhoub's character, and Secundo, Stanley Tucci's character. And it's very weird because it's sort of a lazy way to say this is the big brother and this is the younger brother, right? Primo and Secundo.
yeah.
And you wonder, well, is there a third guy named like three in Italian or whatever?
But what's really important about that too is the fact that they interchange roles over who is the actual big brother or little brother in
Yeah, because
in terms of maturity and also who's actually living what would actually be considered a realistic life.
yeah, kind of, because it seems like Secundo does the business part of the restaurant, which kind of puts him in charge. And Primo is the main chef, and he's the kind of guy who is not giving up on his, let's say, creative talent.
Oh, he's sticking to his guns 100%. In
Yeah.
fact, even in this, there's even that the tete-a-tete, even in the opening scene there in the kitchen, where he tastes the dish and he goes, "Does it need any more salt?" No. And then Primo turns around, grabs a little handful of salt, and puts salt in it.
Yeah, and it's sort of that dichotomy of who's the big brother here. Yeah, and you mentioned that, but who's in charge is more to my liking. And the thing is, their whole argument between each other is the argument that is throughout this film. What is more important, to be commercially viable or to stick to your like I said, artistic
Integrity. Yeah.
integrity. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Because what he says is like, well, for multiple times, we'll discuss throughout the film. When he looks over at at Pascal's, he says, "Do you know what they do over there?" No, he just he's terrible with dishes. He uses the R word specifically at one point when talking to Alberto.
Yeah, and it kind of starts in the introduction to the line between commercialism and individualism. I don't know how to call it. So, yeah, let's say commercialism and integrity. okay, is literally as soon as Secundo leaves the kitchen to leave Primo to this, is him serving the dish. And
Oh, look, yours has leaves in it.
yeah, and this couple who only wants to like eat something nice, and all they want is like spaghetti and meatballs. And to me, it reminded me of the moment in Hudson Hawk where he lands, right? He lands in this restaurant with meeting the nun, and he's like the waiter is there trying to get their order, and he's like, okay, just bring me a like pasta primavera, pasta whatever, and bring in some ketchup. A ketchup bottle with this, and the waiter is so indignant, like, what the fuck is this ketchup thing? What the fuck, fucking Americans? And this is the same kind of thing where they just want the dish, like in Pascal's place, sort of like the dish that they know, not this premium.
Well, and Pascal makes a perfect statement about that later that we'll get to. Yeah. But also when she gets the risotto, it's like, well, I thought there was supposed to be seafood in this. Like, well, there is, but you just
you just
look like
and the whole point is, as soon as like Secundo, he tries to placate to these people, and then he goes to the back, and he.
Well, can we get a side of spaghetti with meatballs? Well, meatballs. Well, even Secundo has the joke where he just says, "Well, sometimes spaghetti and meatballs like to be separate." Eh?
And he goes to the back, and he's
side note: you're going to be hearing a whole lot of terrible Italian accents throughout this.
I'm not even going to try.
Yes, which is like, I don't know. She likes starch. Just make it.
I can barely speak English. Do you want me to speak English with a bad Italian accent? You are crazy. And the whole point is Secundo goes to the back. It's like, could you just please put another shrimp in there so she can see? It's like,
no. He says like, no, just a side of spaghetti. Why did she like? Who ordered it? No, I want to know who ordered it.
Yeah,
the lady who ordered the risotto. She's a criminal.
Yeah.
I want to talk to her. And Secundo opens the door, showing them. It's like, do you want to talk to her? Then talk to her. Like, no, I won't even talk to her. She's a Philistine. She won't even understand.
He is so indignant to what is going on. He just wants to go out there and smack her in the face. So that's the feeling where he's like, these people.
Because he even throws on his face, like, you
good food. They just don't understand good food. I was like, huh? And this is what reminded me of Chef, where this is the battle between Riva and Casper.
Yep.
Basically, Riva says, this is the menu that everybody wants to eat. It works. Everybody likes it. But Casper is like, I want to make great food. The problem is, in Chef, it kind of boils down to Riva's the owner. In this one, Secundo is the co-owner, but because Primo is like
the artist,
brother number one,
he's
like, I'm not giving up my integrity for nobody.
Well, and also in so many ways, Primo reminds me so much of Nicolas Cage's character in Pig. Because could you remember the conversation he has with the guy who opened up the gastropub instead of his actual Irish pub that he wanted? Yeah.
Yes, it's the same conversation that they had in Pig, in that weird freaking restaurant where all Nicolas Cage's character did was have that look, and the guy was like disrobed from his entire vanity. He's like, oh shit. Right? Oh
my life is a lie. Yeah.
And as soon as we have that conversation, we get to learn more of Secundo's side, where he goes to the bank because obviously the restaurant is not doing well. Mm-hmm. Like, you could tell it's not even half full. It's not even a quarter full. You got like 2 people and 20 seats empty, and Secundo's so like flastered. He goes to the bank, and even the bank says, well, you can't we can't give you any more
We
loans.
can't send you.
They're
We
like,
can't extend your loan.
yeah, we
for
can't
any
extend your
longer."
loan. You're pretty much done, right? Which all Secundo wants is to live the American dream. And what the American dream entails is making lots of money,
Yep.
opening a restaurant or just opening a business. We'll call it opening a business because he doesn't really think about the food side of the restaurant. He thinks more of the business side, more of the commercial side. And
Mhm.
to be fair, I'll cross the street, right?
Yeah, well, this is also, if you also see this person previously, he was also eating lunch at the restaurant for free. So
Yeah.
so he paid Primo in artwork, which there's no telling if he's ever going to be a famous artist or not. Just to like, here, no, here,
Yep.
this is
But Primo accepts the painting because it's like an art recognizing art
Art,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Oh no, it's not. This is not going to work for you guys." And Secundo's trying to have that conversation with Primo, but he just can't reach his brother because Primo does not want to give up his own integrity.
Well, his
And
vision for
yeah, he says like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll go back to Italy and we'll cook for our cousin or our uncle, whatever it is. This is before you even talk to that uncle.
yeah. I love this bit too, where he says, "Well, maybe we should take the risotto off the menu because, to be fair, risotto does take quite a long time to craft if you're the only cook in the kitchen."
Kind of. And this is what I thought initially when I watched this, is like, these dishes will take a long time to get out if there's lots of people. But as soon as Secundo goes out and there's like 3 people in there, it's like, okay, maybe that's why people are not coming, because dishes aren't coming fast enough, sir. You're like, I don't want to sit here for an hour to get my fucking macaroni and cheese, right? I'm oversimplifying, of course.
Yeah,
But
no.
I don't want to sit here for an hour.
No,
To
for the typical American at that time, though, that's what it would be.
Yeah, this is the 50s. This is the time where you're like, it's like money's flowing in. You're like, go, 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 go. This is the start of the McDonald's era. This is the start of everything, where everything needs to be faster because you're always on the go. You're always working. You're always moving. And that's doesn't work with basically Italian way of thinking, which is their lunchtime is an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been to Italy before, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So lunchtime is an hour, and at 2:30 there's a siesta for about a couple of hours. So nobody's working.
It's not as bad as Spain, but it's up there.
It's not as bad as Spain, but it's roughly what you get in rural France, where it's like
That's very true.
there's nobody working.
It's even like that in even like larger cities that are outside Paris, like Orléans. Orléans is very like that.
Yeah, I've only been to Paris, so I'm there. It's like on the go. It's like a metropolitan. So I didn't think it would be there, but in Florence or in Siena, there's nothing going on between 2 and 4. So this Italian kind of mentality, especially 50s, this is like early on. There's no rush to go anywhere regardless. So that's the mentality they're bringing in. And the American mentality, especially in the 50s, it's time to go.
It's boom time. We gotta get to work. Well, and also Primo's just outright indignation, like, so what I make this size, like manicotti? No, it's a hot dog.
That was crazy. And then you, of course, before you see Secundo going to Pascal, you see Primo goes to I don't remember the name of the guy, but like in Casino he plays like the main head honcho.
Thank you for because I'm like, yep. I know this actor very well.
And I was half expecting him to talk about mafia shit, but he didn't.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's a hair and a shave and a haircut, 2 bits. It's not really 2 bits. It's $1,
Yeah.
but
Well, that's juxtaposed with Secondo going off with Phyllis.
yes, and they sort of had that talk that she wants him to succeed. It's a weird little talk where she kind of wants him to come upstairs with her, and he's the one that is like, nah, I don't want to.
Well, that she really wants him. But also for him to actually really commit to her.
Yeah, sort of like role reversal in a time where role reversal was not supposed to be a thing. I found it weird, but it sort of revealed later just why he was doing this, because he liked Phyllis, but he doesn't really wanted to commit to Phyllis at the end of the day.
But
He liked his Italian mentality, we'll call it that.
I do love Stanley Tucci's delivery of the line. Do I want to marry you? Probably sometime in the future.
Exactly. I was like, it's not time for you. It's not time. Oh my God, my Italian accent. Holy shit. No. I beg of you, don't leave. So he goes to Pascal, and Ian Holm, the British guy, does.
Oh, side note. I do have one note there. The singer in Pascal's,
yes,
that's Stanley Tucci's sister.
Oh,
Yeah.
A bit of the old Hollywood nepotism right there.
Well, also no, that's her actual singing voice. So she actually.
Oh, she actually sang?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, so she actually does have a set of pipes, so it's fine. But no, with Ian Holm. Oh my God, Pascal just is chewing scenery.
He has the weirdest American Italian accent that sometimes it kind of slips.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's weird throughout the film, but he immediately is one part endearing and one part like a mustache twirling villain of sorts. I'm like, like
what? You close early? What? You run out of food?
It's so strange. He sits in his office and Secundo's half begging him to help him out in any sort of way, but
he flat out does ask him.
You can see the gears running in Pascal's brain. It's like, how am I going to screw these guys over their restaurant and like get rid of them?
Not get rid of them. Have them come work for me, because that's what he wants. He wants that ingenious mind, and he wants that business savvy that Secundo has, because Secundo does have business savvy. It's just the fact that his brother isn't buying into the proper program, which is what Pascal says, just in the scene right there before that. He says, "You give the people what they want, then you give them what you want to give them."
I think he wanted Primo more than Secundo, to be honest. I think he he recognized the talent that Primo had, and he wanted to get him in the kitchen so the food would be better. That was again, that was my assumption, but you can take it any other way. It's pretty open-ended. He did mention he wanted them both, not just the one.
Yeah.
So he kind of recognized that it's a package deal. So if he just wanted Primo, he has to have Secundo. But he knows Secundo does, like you mentioned, he does have that business savvy. So he can be like front of the house kind of a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than back of the house kind of a guy. Which is interesting to say the least.
That, and also, I don't know why they made Bilbo Baggins say this line. You have to bite your teeth into the ass of life.
Yeah, I guess. All right, cool. Let's just have a little stop here and play our first game of the night. It is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee for the uninitiated in the chat. This is where we have 10 posters of movies, have their text written off. We display them, and you guys in the chat and all my feelings will have to guess which movie this is. I purposefully not had it on the share screen, so you won't. It's pretty obvious what the first one is. Here we go.
Basic Instinct.
It is next week's movie, Basic Instinct.
Which I won't be here for. Sucks. I never remember any of these films. I never remember any of the Jean-Claude Van Damme films except for Time Cop. Well, that and Bloodsport.
Well, this is why we have a chat.
Double Team.
Thank
you.
It is not Double Team. Double Team, the one that he did with Dennis Rodman. This is Double something else.
Double Trouble?
No. It's not Freaky Friday either, or The Parent Trap either, which would be hilarious if they would have made The Parent Trap.
If they would have done a role reversal and had Jean-Claude Van Damme do Parent Trap, I'd watch that movie every goddamn day of the week.
Yes, thank you, Jay. This is Double Impact.
Jay, of course you know it's a terrible B movie.
Speaking of Chevy Chase, this is not Fletch.
No.
It's Goldie Hawn. Thank you, Jay, the savior of all men. It is Foul Play.
Friends with Benefits.
Friends with Benefits.
Oh, Fun with Dick and Jane.
Yes, correct.
Is that just that's Star Wars? That's the third one.
Yes.
Well, it's episode 6.
It's the third one.
It's Return of the Jedi.
It is Revenge of the... It's Return of the...
Asshole. Rounders. Great fucking movie.
Rounders. Great movie.
Is that Ford versus Ferrari?
No, it is not Ford versus Ferrari. I've recently watched it. Ford versus Ferrari. Pretty good film.
I only got that because of the racing outfits. I have not seen this movie.
It is actually a great movie. I even saw the documentary of it. Documentary is fantastic. It is called Rush. Thank you, Jay.
That's just Smokey and the Bandit?
Smokey and the Bandit.
Is that Striptease?
Striptease is correct. Do you know how old Striptease is?
Wasn't that 98?
It is about 20 years old.
Oh, never mind. No, I confused that with the other film.
What?
The one with Jesse from Saved by the Bell.
What?
That wasn't Striptease.
Showgirls?
Yeah. I always conflate those two films. I always do. And they're 4 years apart, too. Yeah.
Yeah, just about. They're equally as terrible.
Yes, they are both awful films.
They're equally as terrible. I think 18, I think I had it, 18 years old. Something or other. And it came out June 27th. That's why I put it on, because it's close to
close enough.
Actual release date. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, chat. It was awesome. And basically, thank you, Jay.
Jay. Yeah. Where's Paul? I mean, come on.
Hey, leave him alone. He's doing the Lord's work when he is here. Let me push it there. I love this part. I love this moment where you could tell Pascal is working Secundo. Now, this whole conversation that they have here, again, all skirting that line of commercialism and integrity, that sort of a thing.
Yep.
And what Pascal suggests is, well, Primo does great food. I have so many friends who came by this restaurant. Why don't I just connect you with this very famous jazz musician?
Louis Prima.
Yeah, that Secundo and Primo have some sort of affiliation to, so they know the guy. They idolize.
Well, it was actually only Secondo knows him. That's the most important thing is he's pushing on Secondo, who is actually kind of really at the time what the call would be with it. He understood the jazz scene and jazz culture that was still popular in the 50s before bebop and
Yeah.
yeah.
So the whole point is, the whole suggestion is just do like this lavish dinner, like spend a lot of money on it. But Pascal, I will make sure to bring this very famous jazz singer. And because I know Primo's making really good food, the jazz singer will like it and he will spread the word and you'll get tons of people coming by your restaurant. And the one thing, it kind of brought me back to the first scene where, okay, so if he's going to make sure this jazz guy is going to be there and it's going to be a big night and everything is going to go fine, the problem is we're going to get to the same problem where Primo cannot deliver these dishes fast enough and it will soon return to being the same kind of restaurant. That was my whole thought process.
It's so much of a way. This is a bit that I wanted to mention to you that it reminded me so much of a Seinfeld character. Remember Babu?
Babu, that's right. Not the Pakistani. What was he supposed to be? Is it Pakistani food?
I do believe so.
What was it? Indian food?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't because no one in the neighborhood serves Pakistani food. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and the whole point is Seinfeld said you have to keep it Pakistani.
Well, to be fair, Babu was trying to do multinational, where it's like you're diversifying way too much. You can't do that.
Yeah, you have to stay within your lane.
And side note, as a side tangent, if you've never watched the show Happy Endings, it's a very, very funny comedy. But there is a guy on there who used to like sell meat and everything, but he loved to cook, so he wanted to start his own. He wanted to start his own restaurant. What he did was he decided to start it. It's called Pangea Grill. The menu had 300 pages because it was a dish from everywhere across the world, and I'm like, no. And even in the show, they actually went into he actually went to an investment banker and asked him. So he goes, "Hold on, I have to bring in my colleagues and I have to bring in my boss for this." He goes, "Why?" He goes, like, "Because this is the dumbest proposal I have ever heard in my entire life."
Of course. We hear you, Luke. We hear you. Thank you for being here, man. We also kind of had that little side introduction between like Gabriella and Secundo. And at this point, we kind of realize something's going on, but more of not a mutual infatuation, more like Secundo is kind of hanging on to Gabriella.
But a little bit.
We don't know the context just yet.
Can I just say that Isabella Rossellini looks like she is just pulled straight from a fucking Hitchcock movie in nearly every scene that she's in. She looks straight from the 50s. It's not a bad thing, but it looks she's perfect to type. But also the how she brings up like Pascal says, "You know what I am to you? I am that thing. Out to see the thing. You know, you see the thing, the light, the thing, a lighthouse."
It's so weird because that's basically Italian people coming in and they don't really they know how to speak English, but really rudimentary English. It's a real thing. Yes, I know. If
Yeah.
you've encountered it, if you've been there.
Yeah. Well, then after that, it cuts to them going to the fishmonger, coming back from the fishmonger's like, hey, did you hear how as soon as I mentioned Louis Prima was going to be there, we got a deal from the fishmonger?
Yep, exactly.
And also, and the entire time, Primo keeps saying, no, they should come for the food. It doesn't matter who's there. They need to come for the food.
Yeah, he doesn't really understand why is this guy so important. Like he understands they're throwing a special meal, but he doesn't understand why is that guy so important.
Like, who cares?
Like I said, I think he mentioned that he knows him. I just don't know if he knows how important it is.
No,
I'm talking about Primo here.
Yeah, yeah.
And
because even when he goes to Anne's to get the flowers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And this is the sort of I would call it a side story within the main story, right? This whole Primo is, let's call it a crush. He has a crush on this flower vendor.
Yeah.
And it seems like she's reciprocating, but he is not going all the way. He's not doing the extra move.
Correct.
But she won't do the extra move. She's not like Phyllis, where Phyllis is a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more, independent, self-reliant. Allison Jennings' character is sort of timid. She's willing to go with Primo, but she wants him to do that extra move.
Well, at least ask her out. I mean,
yeah, Primo doesn't really do it because of reasons. Even Secundo kind of pushes him. It's like, she's into you. Like, go ahead. Just
well, I thought you would ask her because Alberto told me that you and her have a thing.
Yeah. But he kind of refuses, even though they have, a little bit of it's not a real touch, but they do touch in a way. And Primo reveres her. And this is, again, my thought is she's an artist as well. She knows how to match flowers to, and I think he even mentions that she knows how to look at a person and she knows exactly what flower he needs. It's her art. It's her way of expressing herself. And that's what draws Primo to her, is the fact that she's
also an artist, just
also an artist in a way, in her way. And I found that very interesting. But again, he doesn't do that extra move. So
well, we do have also these very sad state of affairs when Secundo takes the money out and he's like, so how much is left? $62.47, or oof.
Yeah.
Even in 1951 or two, that's not a lot of money, buddy.
No, that's not a lot of money, but they make it work. They actually make it work. And we're going to get to what exactly are they making. That big dish. Surprise.
The timpano, yeah.
Surprise. I ate something very similar.
Well, it's a trombolo is the actual dish, but timpano was actually the localized version of it that they used for the film.
It really, you know what's crazy? It really depends on where in Italy you call it, and sometimes it varies what you put in it depending on where in the country you are. The northerner place, you got more of a meaty style. The southerner place have got extra, like, different kinds of meat. It's all jumbled up. It really depends on if you're talking like Tuscany, that's one area. Bologna is a different area. So all the different places. Anyway, so even Phyllis comes into the kitchen and she wants to lend a hand, and Secundo's more hesitant. But Primo is the one that is like,
get to work.
Yeah. Yeah, you're here.
Hey, if you help, I mean, I'm going to take free help. And also, when he's but he's bringing all of everything for the timpano. Like the entire time, Secundo's like, no, 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 no. He's just making it. It's like, God damn it.
The whole issue is they're arguing about that dish for like in sections. They're arguing at one section, then they're arguing in a different section, and it's like, no, but Uncle says you have to put that, and Primo's like, no, you have to put this. Like, why are they arguing? Just make the thing. Just make it. And you, at this point, you don't even know what it is. They're just calling it in a name, and then you get to see it, and it's like, holy shit, what in the fuck is this? But the whole back and forth of Secundo running out. So Primo needs stuff, right? Phyllis is there to work. And Secundo is the one that goes out and doing these errands. Oh, bring me this. You have to bring me that. And he goes away. And of course, one of those travels, you get to see why.
Well, we did overtalk the one bit where he talks, Secundo talks Primo down about the vegetable vendor.
Yeah, I had it on screen.
Yeah, we did say but the only thing important about that is the vegetable vendor is kind of important later for the Mambo Italiano scene.
Fine.
But after that, no, we do have him going out, and one of the major reasons too is like you don't know if Secundo was actually interested in Gabriella or if he's just using her for her connections, because she's getting him discount booze for the restaurant.
Yeah, and this is where I thought was a bit odd, where I really didn't know what is his intentions. The fact that he's fooling around kind of got me thinking, well, if you go back to the first conversation with Phyllis and he's like, this is really not the time, maybe he's just not into her because he's into Gabriella sexually. And then she's like, don't worry, I'll make sure you get like discount booze. And like, wait a minute, wait. Is he interested because he knows he can get cheaper booze? This is where I just didn't know. And then I thought, well, maybe it's a double whammy kind of thing. He's into Gabriella sexually, but also there's like a side bonus. I'm going to have this big night. She's really good in getting cheap booze, so I'm getting both sex and a discount. So it's a win-win over here. Yeah. But you never know his real intentions, because it seems like he doesn't love Gabriella. He's just sexually attracted to her, but he kind of loves Phyllis. And that's sort of that dichotomy between the two. He would like to, it's sort of a fuck, marry, kill, but without the kill. And he chose to fuck Gabriella and marry Phyllis, but not quite yet. He wants to be a like a successful business owner, and then he'll marry. It's like, I want to provide before I marry you, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Very well. It's a very classic machismo Italian mentality where he wants to be able to provide for his wife so she doesn't have to work.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And what's in the kitchen, and I had it for a second there, is Phyllis talking to Primo about food, right? And he's like, you can take a break. You must be tired, sort of a thing. Kind of gently and gentlemanly shooing her away, because she can bring stuff to him to make the food, but he doesn't want her to touch the food while like doing the preparation of it. Right?
Well, it's more the fact like, well, I'm going to do this right, and I'm pretty sure you're going to fuck this up. So you can go. You've got to be tired. No, I understand if you want a break.
Yeah, it's sort of a to me, like I said, gentlemanly and nudging her out the fucking door. Like, you're in Secundo territory. You're not in Primo territory over here. So
yeah.
And then, of course, we have Campbell Scott and the dealer character, the car dealer character, as he tries to.
Which side note, this is actually set up previously before because you can tell that Secundo has greater aspirations in his mind because he does see the current model year Cadillac outside of Paradise, just on the street. Goes, see that Cadillac? It's the new year.
And I wanted to talk to you about this. The fact that it's a Cadillac, not any other car, it has some sort of a in terms of the immigrant community, especially back then. It's not just the Italian community; it's also the Cuban community, Puerto Rican community. The Cadillac, it's sort of revered as the American dream car.
It has an air of mystique to it.
Not Ford, not Chevy, not whatever, not Chrysler or anything, not Pontiac. It's the Cadillac that is revered as the American dream car. If you own a Cadillac, you've made it.
Just as an aside, salesman, wow. One of the best sales pitch scenes I have ever seen.
I think so too.
He mirrors perfectly. He sets up punch like the immediate setup and punchline bit is so set that he has studied his craft on how to sell cars because he is really fucking good.
I have to say those cars are fucking amazing. By the way,
terrible to drive now. By the way,
definitely, but they look incredible. But what I wanted to say is the guy who I know this information from, Joey Coco Diaz.
Yeah. Aw.
It's
Joey.
Uncle Joey. Yeah, he's it's like nothing else but the Cadillac for immigrants back in the day. Like Hispanic or Italian immigrants, that was the car, especially like 50s, 60s, 70s. Yeah. That sort of an era. And as Secundo comes back from his booze run, of course, Phyllis is still there and he still rebuffs her. That's like the second really major time that he's like, I don't want to know. You don't want to know, right? It's like, and he likes her, but no visible sexual attraction.
I think, honestly, though, it's just more of the fact that he's actually trying to be the proper gentleman with her.
And that's the whole bit, right? I've seen it mostly with French people, is the fact that infidelity is very sort of a gray area. So
with Italian people and I wouldn't say this is an overall stereotype, but it's just very prominent when it comes to French culture and Italian culture. Mistresses aren't exactly frowned upon.
Yeah, like I said, it's not really an open relationship, but mistresses are kind of if I don't see you with her, it's fine kind of a thing. It is infidelity, but it's not infidelity. It's really in a weird territory. And again, it's very much
which is why if you think about it, Henry Hill should have been with anybody then, I love my Jewish friends and I love the Jewish culture, but he should have not married a Jewish woman.
And he's not really Italian, which is
no, but he is so into the culture where it's like he might as well be.
Yeah, the culture is Italian. I said, very much it's not European culture. It's very much Italian and French kind of a thing. In Spain is a big fucking no-no. Yeah. Big no-no. Which is weird because both Italians and Spanish people are supremely Catholic.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
Wow, it almost seems as if you make something taboo, people want to do it more. Huh? What a fucking surprise!
Yeah, what a
See the
surprise.
prohibition.
Why, thank you. Uh,
This side note, this next scene, I adore it just because it is so just completely off-putting.
yeah, it's
It's just that joke line,
yeah.
like, but no, you don't have to say it rains outside because it can't rain inside.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that a joke?
Yeah. So we're talking about the two brothers, Secundo Primo and Pascal, before the night begins. So this is like like afternoon or noon around that time, where they're in the middle of the preparations. Stuff is already going on, and Pascal comes in and kind of. It seems like he's rubbing it in because I know the ending, but as soon as they came in the restaurant, it's like, yes, I'm making sure Louis Prima is coming. I already knew he is not coming
Yeah,
at this injuncture. Like
he's a
at this
no-show.
point,
Yep.
I knew he was trying to fuck them over. I just didn't know how.
Well, he was trying to see how hard he was going to fuck them over. Essentially, at this point,
But it,
we also have Primo. His general distaste of Pascal comes through because he hears about the fact that Louis Prima was
yeah,
Pascal's friend, and Primo immediately like, well, I'm out.
yeah, yeah. It's so weird at this point. It was like Primo does not want to give up his cooking integrity whatsoever, and he can already smell the commercialism on its way, and he does not want to have it. He goes to back to the barber shop, and he's on the phone with the uncle, and he's already getting finding it out. I was gonna say he's calling his uncles like, how are you doing? Can do you want us back, or can we go back? Is there a place for us to come over and cook for you? And he's already setting up the fact that he wants to go back to Italy. For him, America is maybe not what he aspires to. It's not his dream. It's Secundo's dream. I have to breathe. Sorry. No, I did not do a lot of talking today, but there was it's a day and a half. Let's just say that. Right. Things are happening though. It seems like if you look at this kitchen compared to the first scene, the kitchen is fuller, stuff is happening, and this is what your kitchen is supposed to kind of look like. Everything is happening. You've got the chicken going there, the rabbit going there, the bread coming in, the sous chef Mark Anthony. Yeah, I know his name is not Mark Anthony, but
no, what's so funny is like Cristiano is never really tied to any role because he's the waiter
and
server, a busboy,
boy, yeah.
a sous chef.
But stuff is happening. Preparations are on the way. It's already evening. Stuff is going on. And this is before the kind of reveal, right? I want to get to the reveal. Yeah, before the entire night, the part where Secundo is trying to nudge his brother.
No, it sets it up. Like, no. You have to come tonight.
Yeah, he wants the florist, Allison Jennings' character, to come over, right? It is supposed to be a big night. He wants to push his brother towards that woman he likes and make things happen. And I thought, well, we just saw Primo calling Italy and wanting to go back. If Secundo could get her to match up with Primo, then that will be an anchor to stay in the US and try and make it.
Yeah.
That's where I was thinking.
Well, it's that, but it's also he's looking out for his brother's happiness because he knows that he is interested in her, and he knows that Primo will never make the proper move. He needs a nudge forward.
You think so? He thinks Segundo knows Primo is never going to make that move?
Yeah.
Because she's an American?
Well, no, just because he's Primo. He
Okay.
knows his brother that well.
I
don't think there was. Well, I'll put it this way: I don't think there was malicious intent behind it.
Oh, I don't think there's a malicious intent behind it at all. At all. I want to get to that point where they take out the. Is it later on that they take the
Tipano? Oh, that's way later.
Yeah. However, one thing is the fact that sort of the night begins and everybody starts to gather, and it starts with getting everybody liquored up.
Well, and also this is a very classic Italian kind of thing. They did like the antipasta and
Yeah.
It's
It's
you hang around with cocktails, whatever, and also they just had to have Mini Driver's character Phyllis say formaggio instead of cheese.
I didn't get that, but it's to me is sort of like it's the dichotomy between Italians and Americans. I didn't understand it.
No, it was supposed to be her trying to be like, well, I'm the American girl dating an Italian guy, so look, I can speak some Italian too.
By the way, I don't know how you feel about it. Mini Driver does a horrendous like New Jerseyan accent.
Well, oh no, that's absolutely true. Well, to be fair, she had only done actual mock accents in the style of speaking like proper, well, not proper, but a New England style accent in like one other role beforehand, and it was a very, very minor role, so she really didn't have that much experience. And again, she got just cast because she happened to be there one day.
Yeah. And to me, I'm coming from a place where British actors and Australian actors can manage speaking in an American accent really easily compared to the other way around, right?
That's true. That is true.
So,
well, except for Robert Downey Jr., but you know,
well, because he's RDJ.
He's the dude. What?
He's the dude playing the dude. There's another dude. Yeah, this point where the florist Alison Jenny kind of walks through the door and Primo is completely.
Well, Alberto goes back like, "Hey, she's here.
Yeah,
the flower girl." It's like, checks his checks his mustache and hair in the frying pan. It's like, watch the stove. And he almost looks at Secundo like, "You motherfucker."
Oh yeah, he almost has that point, but he blunders through it. I would have to say he kind of blunders through it, and he really doesn't know. But she gives him tremendous leeway.
Oh yeah.
If I was her, I was like, it's not worth it. But she is so into him, and he at one point takes her into the. I think he takes her into the back, right?
Yeah, where he's actually
he shows her his craft, and she gets him.
Yeah, and they talk about lasagna bolognese because they're like, well, if you go to Bologna, it's a very, very sad town, but if you go there, have lasagna bolognese, you eat it once, and you want to kill yourself. You want to eat nothing after this.
Yeah. So as the night comes in and they don't want to serve the food, this is where it kind of starts with, okay, we got some drinks, then we got some music, so everybody's kind of loose with the alcohol. Everybody's dancing. Even Primo is dancing. No care in the world of what's going on in the kitchen because everything has been dealt there. already.
Which I'm curious because I see Alberto on the dance floor too. So I'm like, who the fuck's watching this?
Yeah, who the fuck is watching?
Is Cristiano back there?
Cristiano, yeah. It's Cristiano with the food, even though,
But also during that conversation, I think Tony Shalhoub gets one of the best lines in the entire film.
Tell me.
To eat good food is to be close to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that interaction of stepping out, having that that dance, then stepping back into the kitchen and kind of showing her around and having that conversation. And then, of course, it's very disjointed because they go kind of back and it always jumps from front house to back of the house to this place where I kind of had half a thought that Phyllis is pregnant.
I thought the exact same thing the first time I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and this is where they have that sort of a not wife but girlfriend meeting the mistress without them knowing about each
But it's
other.
also two women that are at this point in time. You have to remember too. This is the 50s, so they're in their late 20s.
Yes, even though
20s to like 30s. At that point in time, it was still very uncommon at that age for a woman to still be single or dating someone. They should be married and having kids at that point in time. That was a social parlance in the 50s. That's just the way it was. But so that them having that conversation about the fact of mocking the concept about men, because they're essentially both being played by the same person, and it's Gabriella knows it, but Phyllis doesn't.
Yeah, and there wasn't like a lot of awareness of not drinking alcohol while pregnant kind of a thing. If she knew, like I said,
that's true as well. Yeah.
like, the pregnancy thing was in my head, but you said you thought the same kind of thing. Apparently, she was just sick because she can't handle her booze.
Liquor. Yeah.
Yeah. But to have that conversation where you don't actually know if they're like they know about the thing, they don't know about the thing. They probably don't, or Gabriella knows about Phyllis, but Phyllis doesn't know about Gabriella.
That's what it is.
Because she gives her a compliment, and it sort of seems like she either putting her in at ease or she's just playing with her food. That sort of a thing. It was like, where is she coming from? It's like sort of a passive aggressive kind of a thing. And it's very interesting because you don't really know at this point. You really don't know at this point.
Yeah.
It's all like there's a lot of things that you have to assume depending on when are you watching this film, how old are you, how much you've seen this thing play out before or not. It's very interesting dynamic. I thought about it. It's like if I was a 20-year-old, I might not pick up on certain things about this movie that as a 40-year-old I would, because A, I've seen enough films, B, I've read enough stories, and C, I've been through enough of my life, whether it's like my own history with women or I have enough friends to like feed me this tales of woe or of joy with the other sex and how they interacted, that sort of thing, right? So I picked up a lot of like passive aggressive thing between Gabriella and Phyllis, and I really didn't know if Phyllis knew about Gabriella or not. I assumed no. I just assumed no.
Yeah, well, it's clear by the end she did not. So, but anyway, then it cuts directly to our favorite vegetable man.
What? Sorry?
That was a vegetable seller, Mambo Italiano.
Yeah, but I want to get to the Pascal first, because as soon as they finish their little talk, Pascal comes in with the car salesman, and there's there right after this. There's an interaction with Secundo's like, yeah, I'm Pascal's like, I'm bringing him. Of course, I'm bringing Louis Prima in. It'll have to wait a little bit, right? It'll have to wait. And Secundo's really getting annoyed at this point, but
Mhm.
the crowd that they have there they're really enjoying
They're
themselves.
having a good time.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
it's
having a great
as
time.
far as I can tell, they're not getting charged for any of this. So yeah, it's just a great big party.
Yeah, the whole point is they're bringing like the car salesman's there, the old couple is there, the barber comes in. It's sort of it's a very friendly atmosphere. They have the minister is there. Everybody's sort of involved with this big night, and they're just here to have a good time. So why not just have a good time, right?
Mhm.
They seem to not care about Louis Prima whatsoever. The only guy who cares about Louis Prima is the news reporter and Secundo.
And by the end, the news reporter didn't even care about
Didn't
that.
even care.
Yeah.
Didn't even.
Um, but we do have immediately right. Also, again, that's intercut. The salesman is interspersed throughout that because even when he first meets Cristiano, he says, "You're a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
What about a car?" And obviously he got Pascal interested. And during one of the dinner scenes, I think it's during the actually obviously Il Secondo, the second dish, he's actually handing over like easy auto loans to the vegetable dealer.
Yeah. The guy, hey, dude, the guy was wheeling and dealing the whole time. Man.
Hey, I mean, you got to give him credit. The hustle is always there.
The
So
hustle's always there. So they know Louis Prima is going to be late, so they're like, the food is ready. Primo's like, we can go at any time.
it's like, fuck it, let's eat.
And
Yeah.
Secundo was like, you know what? Everybody's having a good time. Let's just feed them because that's what we're here for eventually. And Primo agrees, so they start rolling out these dishes, and every single dish is planned, is meticulously planned. I want to get
The zuppa, then they have the risotto, and the it's just the food reactions that everyone's having,
yes,
and then with the even the way they even cut it, it almost looks like the Italian flag, which is like I was like,
because it is the Italian flag. It's the other way around for us, but he holds it.
yeah,
It's
it's
the
very
red,
well,
white,
it's,
and
it was very
green,
well done.
and then comes in the pièce de résistance. They don't serve it yet, just yet. They're still waiting on it.
Because they're like, it might be too hot still, and well, if they're about to touch it to make sure that it's solid, it's like the actual outer crust is still like functional and will hold form. And Cristiano leans in, they slap his hand away, and while they both go, they're poking and prodding at it, like, okay, it's good, it's good.
Yeah. They're tapping it like you're supposed to tap bread. If you ever made bread, you know it's ready if you tap it and it has that hollow sound.
Yeah, but also too,
Don't ask me how I know, but I know.
no, and also Secondo, perfect like showmanship. Because he goes, no, cut it at the table.
Cut it at the table to have that
The wow factor.
The wow factor is key because Primo knows how to make food. Secundo knows the business
Plating, yeah.
the sort of the outside shell of the business, and one of those outside shell things is I want to make the food look as tasty as Primo can make it. The one thing, and this is just because it's a 90s movie, there's a black girl at the table. This is the 50s.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't get.
I mean, I get it. It's just a little bit out of place.
It is. It very much so is.
Dude, this is the 90s. In the 90s, it's already, it's been, everything is integrated.
I would not be surprised if they were one of Stanley Tucci's friends or one of the casting people's friends, and that's 100% fine. But with the parlance of how it was then, this would not have happened.
With one caveat. If she would have been introduced as the jazz singer or the lounge singer from Pascal's restaurant, then it would be fine. It would not be out of place because this is restaurant people, right? If restaurant people, it's like music club people or stand-up comic people. So there are exceptions for that.
Or like as you know. Well, as you know, like if you worked at a bar, you've hung out with enough bartenders to know, like, oh, well, I know them. If you're hanging out, you're gonna get a calm drink. If you're hanging out at someone else's bar, that's just the way it goes.
It's of the same vein. So if it's sort of like Italian people, African American, it's all integrated because they kind of work at the same business. She was not introduced as anyone consequential to.
She was not introduced at all.
Yeah, she just, apparently she's there. Again, a little bit out of place, but she acts like everybody else. So it fits.
Yeah, which is 100% fine. But it was just given the parlance of the time, it was just that would not have happened if it's just. That's just the way things were. I know it's bad, but so anyway, when they're actually eating the timpano, when Pascal's outburst,
yeah.
Well, and everybody having basically just giant O faces as well.
Yeah, this is the face. I wanted to grab that face. You saw in the back. I was trying to get the face.
Trying to get it,
and Allison Janney's face is like, oh my god, this is incredibly good.
Well, they had that. Pascal said, "God damn it!" Gets up. This is so good. I should fucking kill you.
Pascal is being tremendously rude, though. He is, right? He is.
But to be fair, that has been his character the entire time.
Yeah. He's
so him having an outlandish outburst makes 100% sense.
But the thing is this, and this is before we go to our second game, is can you see the look on Secundo's face where he realizes, Louis Prima is not.
This is not going to come. Well, because they have been setting this up for so long, and also they're already in the Timpano, and they're also about to start Secondi, which is those are bringing out the fish and the meatballs and the I think the biggest plate of asparagus I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, this is like, oh, there's more, by the way. I think everybody kind of left the table, and then they...
No, because everyone's sitting there like, oh, God, I'm so full. And then comes out the fucking suckling pig. I'm like...
So, all right, we'll stop here.
Stop there, yeah. No, that's a perfect place to stop.
Yeah, it's a perfect way to stop, and we'll do our second game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter for the uninitiated is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good, both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other, two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? As before I pop everything out on screen, is chat participation is most welcome. Just write down the name of the movie you want to pick, and even if it is the wrong choice. And because we had the presidential debate, I have Weekend at Bernie's and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Cheeky fucker, you. I will still have to go with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know it's not exactly Tarantino's best, but I still prefer that.
You know, Tom Connors loves this movie.
I know.
I asked him why, and he's like, "Oh, this is a great movie." Yeah, there are great moments in
It's
it,
Yeah.
mostly Brad Pitt, but on the whole, I was really not impressed. I really wasn't. I would go with Weekend at Bernie's, to be fair. It's like it's 90 minutes and you have a really good time. Chat is a bit slow. You're not with us, guys, but I'm gonna pick it because I don't care. Lethal Weapon 4 or Born to Kill. I haven't seen.
I know you have never seen Born to Kill.
I
It's
haven't
it's a
seen Born-
it's a good kind of film noir.
All right,
Yeah.
in the Woods
Come on.
or Lethal Weapon 4.
Come on. This is too easy.
I'm too old for this shit. I know. I like Cabin
No.
in the Woods.
Sorry,
I
but
Cabin in the
you
Woods.
are wrong on this one. 100%. It's like the worst Lethal Weapon.
I think number 2 is the worst. It has more memorable parts in it, but I kind of like Lethal Weapon 4 in a weird way. Like Chris Rock's character is so out of place in that movie, but I still like it. I'm gonna go with you and put down. I'm gonna pick. I'm picking Lethal Weapon 4, but I'm gonna click Cabin in the Woods just because of you.
Because it's the correct decision.
No, it's not. 101 Dalmatians and The Blind Spot. This is the animated one? No, this is not.
No, that's a live action
This
one.
is the Glenn Close live action one.
Yes.
Yeah. With Hugh Laurie, by the way. It's one of them.
Yeah.
And The Blind Spot,
The Blind
which has
Side.
been since debunked.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now whenever I think of The Blind Side, all I can think of is Bo Burnham's Inside, his special, because he has about it's like I'm trying to be like Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side. I'm a special kind of white guy.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
I'll have to show you that one day. But I would probably have to go with 101 Dalmatians. Even though,
Really?
well, to be fair, Dalmatians are asshole dogs, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They're fucking mean.
They're mean and they're annoying. And my sister-in-law had one that lived in the yard, and he barked at everything that moved. Everything, including people he knew and liked. I hate those dogs. Ain't no way I'm choosing a Disney movie over The Blind Side. I liked the movie. I really did.
Yeah.
I did find it a bit weird.
Well, it's just
I got it confirmed why. Because it's completely a fiction. Like,
well, it's completely a fiction, and also it has the audacity to be preachy while being an utter falsehood.
yeah, and the fact that it still says based on true events, yeah, it's based is good. Like, they have the names of the people involved correct. That's about it. It's a better movie. The Departed or Ice Age 2. There's Date Night or Spawn.
Okay, this is an interesting one.
Talk to me, Goose.
Spawn has probably some of the worst CGI ever committed to film. It's even worse than La Magra in Blade. Like, it is terrible. It is.
Agreed.
The Violator looks awful. Spawn's suit looks awful. The soundtrack is actually kind of cool. Date Night, on the other hand, if it were not for Steve Carell and Tina Fey, there would be no saving Date Night.
No, I don't think even the fact that Tina Fey's in a movie is a travesty to humanity. She's funny, but she's TV funny, not a movie funny.
That's fair.
Steve Carell is just he's just a talented comedic actor.
Well, because he has what Tina Fey doesn't have when it comes to big picture.
Yeah,
stardom.
big personality. Yeah.
there. She's not. She doesn't have that grandiose kind of presence.
And on the other side, John Leguizamo as the clown.
The Violator. Yeah.
Is-
I'm sorry. I know it's awful, but I would probably watch Spawn.
you know what? I'm gonna pick Spawn too. I just don't like Dead Night. About a Boy or A View to a Kill. And I will ask you a question that you ask me a lot. Have you watched A View to a Kill?
Yes, I have seen that one.
Okay.
I would definitely
I've
watch
seen
that
About
one
a
because About a Boy.
Yeah,
No.
the thing is, A View to a Kill, you can tell Roger Moore, A, didn't want to be there. B, was a bit too old for the Bond so Roger Moore had his version of Bond,
Mhm.
which was very outgoing, a lot more sexual than the Sean Connery Bond, and a lot more jokey than the Sean Connery Bond. But in The View to a Kill, that kind of was a bit too old for him. I would still watch A View to a Kill because About the Boy is just Eh. The Breakfast Club or a movie that I've
You have never seen and never will see.
no.
Oh,
Okay. Choose The Breakfast Club or It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, the Halloween special.
well, don't you forget about me.
Don't you forget about me. All right, last one.
Oh my God! Fuck you.
The Naked Gun from The Files of Police Squad. That's the Naked Gun 1. Or Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
None. Neither.
Why?
Space whales.
Choose. Choose your poison.
Oh, God. It's oddly enough, it's gonna have to be Star Trek 4.
Agreed.
Cannot stand any of the Naked Guns.
You have an aversion to the Zucker brothers or something.
Oddly enough, I would rather watch Hot Shots. Even Part 2.
It's a funny movie, but it has the same kind of jokes.
I know, but I'd rather watch that.
All right. Okay. I'm not gonna, All right. Where were we? So
So we have kind of the come down after everyone's finished eating, and we have the cut to the blonde girl, like after she finished eating Primo's food, like my mother was a terrible cook.
yeah.
As even though this was like a realization she just had, it's like, oh, I finally had good food for the first time.
But I want to get to this point where sort of like the story kind of unravels. The fact that Louis Prima is not coming, the fact that, and Gabriella's the one that has to do the deed. Because he has that conversation with Secundo in the bathroom.
Well, yeah, she's trying to pretty much console Secundo because at that point in time, they still have, hope is fading clearly, but still they have no idea it was a setup the entire time still. So
She kind of forces Pascal's hand. Because
this is when you have to remember Phyllis catches them.
Yeah, and Phyllis catches them and she kind of realizes, oh, I've been duped here. But then when they go out, she meets Primo and she's telling us like, no one is coming tonight. No one is coming ever. Yeah. Right? And she kind of forces Pascal to like tell your new friend. Tell him that Louis Prima is not coming. And Primo has that look on his face of like, oh shit. I understand that my brother, I understand that it's not gonna be there. And Secundo runs after Phyllis, and Phyllis wants to drown herself.
No, she just goes into the ocean and swims.
Why?
Hmm.
I couldn't understand why like, do you want to kill yourself or what? But she doesn't. She just goes to like wash herself from Secundo or something.
Yeah, was it supposed to be like a metaphorical way of washing yourself
Baptism?
clean from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess I couldn't get it. But what
that
it
or maybe
does,
they were just like, hey, well, we're trying to get Minnie Driver in kind of in an underwear shot, so we're just gonna try to see what we can do. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, she has done naked stuff before, but that was like early career.
Yeah.
But Primo, what it does is they have the confrontation between Primo and Secundo. This is the start of it.
Just as an aside too, Cristiano, the best out of all of them, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Because even when she's when Phyllis is walking away, he takes his jacket off and gives it to her.
Yeah.
And he's taking care of everybody. It's like, Cristiano, you're too good to be working here, man.
Exactly. And this is where Primo kind of confronts Secundo because Primo knows about Louis Prima, and I think Secundo knows, but he doesn't have that confirmation.
Deep down, he knows, but he has no affirmation of it
Exactly.
actually being the case until Primo just flat out tells him.
And then he says, well, I already talked to my uncle. We've got a place to go to. There's a new place in Rome. We can go and work there. But Secundo doesn't want to, he doesn't want to listen.
This is a no, fuck him and fuck you too.
Yeah.
You let somebody else take care of you.
Exactly. I have this American dream. I want to make it here, or I can't make it anywhere. Sorry. I'm so sorry. That was too cheesy. That was too cheesy. And like the moment of realization where he literally takes out the frustration that he has, frustration
Been brewing for years.
Pascal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pascal is just the extra bit, but they had this argument like under the radar for
The whole time.
years. The whole time they were there in the States, where it just didn't work. They're coming from two different places. Again, commercialism and integrity to the craft. And they just go at it right there in the beach in front of everybody. Right? There's like people after dinner, they're boozed up, they're liquored up, they've got their
Well, and also you have to remember, it's past 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah. And they just hash at it. And this is a great shot. This is a great shot.
Hey, we're going. You want to come with us? No?
Yeah.
All right,
Well, see you later.
great party.
Yeah. Thank you for the food. I'm gonna grab these two chicks and go home. It's just in some places, it doesn't feel like the 50s, right? It feels like a 90s thing rather than a 50s thing.
Do you know that shot? You know what it reminded me of so much? Swingers.
Yes.
That the car salesman is Vince Vaughn.
Vince
in
Vaughn.
Swingers.
It's
Yep.
Vince Vaughn. And this is where the real confrontation comes in.
Yeah, Secundo with Pascal.
And Pascal kind of tells him, well, I want to have your brother in my restaurant, and I want to have you in my restaurant too. And he lays out what we said at the beginning, where he wants Secundo to be in the front house, and he wants Primo at the back house, because he kind of says it in not so many words that he recognized that they have talent, but they don't fit on just doing it on their own. They need someone from up top to deal with the really business side of things, which is wheeling, dealing, and making sure you've got the correct people in the correct spots. More like Pascal is more of a project manager, and he manages the different elements, but he wants the top A players under his wing rather than just doing it on their own.
Mhm.
Oh, that's how I felt.
Well, that and Secundo has probably one of the best retorts to him.
Mm.
That my brother, he is above you. What he has and what he is rare. You
Exactly.
are nothing. It's like,
It's exactly
what I am, well, Pascal's retort, I am a businessman. What are you? Well, I'm a businessman. I have to be what I am whenever I have to be it. And what are you?
And it what it does, it leaves that question hanging in the air because Pascal just leaves,
Mhm.
right? And Secundo's left with just having to think things over. That's all he does. There's no, he didn't slap him, he didn't punch him. He just had a realization, kind of, that his brother is in so many ways correct, but he still holds on to that dream. He doesn't want to give up on that American dream and succeeding in America and having your own business. It's sort of really sad, but I
Again, poor Cristiano, fucking sleeping on the goddamn butcher's block.
oh my
Poor
god,
boy.
so fucking funny. It really is. It made me laugh so hard. He goes out, it's like, Cristiano, just go home. Just go home.
He's like, no, are you hungry? Here.
No, yeah, it's like it's already early morning, so he's like, I'll just make you some food. And this is where you kind of realize Secundo can cook.
Yeah.
He just lets his brother be the artist, right? In the kitchen. So
Well, to be fair, he only makes an omelet, but still, I mean,
hey, I don't remember who said it, but I know of a chef that says if you can make a great omelet, you can do anything.
yeah, that's fair.
Maybe what's her name said it? We made her Julia Child. Which is odd because in the movie about Julia Childs, Stanley Tucci played her husband, which is another great food-based movie.
Yeah. Well, what's great too is this was actually done in one take,
One take.
done one time.
Yeah.
That's it, and that's obviously it's clearly just Stanley Tucci just cooking. Yep, that's it.
Yep. I want to get to. Well,
And again, we have basically the last 4 minutes of the film is completely silent.
Yep. The whole point is, as soon as he's like, do you want an omelet? Was the last thing he said to him, and I think Cristiano just nodded yes. I think the translation, I had it with translation, it said yes, but I think he just nodded, if I'm not mistaken. Again, watched it several times. It's my Swiss cheese brain. But the fact that all he does is one take, making eggs, and it doesn't even change. The camera moves a little bit to include Primo coming into the scene while Cristiano is eating, and he sits down and eats, and there's nothing. It's just this. It's them eating in the morning.
Then Cristiano exits, and then we do have the brothers again reconciling as they put their arms over each other's shoulders, and that's the end of the film.
Yep, that's the end of the film. Now, I think when we discussed Goodfellas, we said that the longest running scene was 2.5 minutes by.
That's a full run shot though. That was the full in through the Cabana Club scene.
Yeah. But we're talking about seeing that the camera kind of follows
actually moves.
people.
Yeah.
This was a long one take scene that
Well,
you can
this is also there's a most recent horror film, not well, it's a 2022 named Pearl, where the actress Mia Goth at
Mm.
the end of the movie does this like almost nearly psychotic. It's nearly a 3-minute bit where she's just smiling in front of the camera and slowly crying.
Yeah, but well, I haven't seen it. I have it marked. I had it marked on my Netflix, but it left Netflix. Never mind.
That's a wild movie.
I know. It's like I got recommendations not from you, which is odd because I usually get my horror film
But
recommendations.
it's a good one, but it's also one that I didn't know if you would like or not because it's a little out there.
Well,
And also you would kind of need to see the first film to understand the second one because there's a prequel that's actually technically a sequel because X was the first film that oddly enough Mia Goth is in it as an actress, but she's also playing the grandmother in it, but who's the character Pearl anyway.
did I?
And
Tell you,
there's
I
going
have
to be a third film coming out.
I have like I've had it with two things: A, multiverses; B, sequel prequel kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I need new IPs, dude. I need new IPs. I want this film. I want this kind of film.
Yeah.
Where it's a compelling story. Maybe it could have been shortened out a little bit, like make the scenes tighter, because it's a 2-hour movie. It's like
No, it's actually only like an hour 43.
an hour 50-ish.
Well,
wait. My copy says 1 hour 49, so it's 145. So 145 without the texts and credits and all that stuff. You could have tightened this up a little bit because it felt really long at times. But you know what? It's indie film of sorts. So I don't know.
In a way, with the way that everything is established, one of the reasons why I picked this is because it's very Hitchcockian in the way that it does plot and its paces and everything is set up. So everything has a payoff at the end.
Yeah, for sure. But like I said, it felt kind of long-ish and it felt really slow. Sort of a movie that you said Hitchcockian, sort of a movie that was done in the 60s, not 50s, but 60s. But it really was done not in 96. So kind of felt like I wanted to move with the next bit. I was really into what story of this big night, what was going to happen, how things are going to be revealed. I was locked into this movie. But again, I had to watch it at 1.5 speeds twice because I wanted it to move, right? And of course, there's a few bits and pieces there that we kind of skipped over, which, add to the stuff. Pascal's character and how he kind of, there's a moment there where he kind of, you understand he is so mad at his own staff, he almost killed the guy.
Well, actually, that scene too, as well, is like you don't know if the scene where they have the fire scene where the cook runs out on fire, if maybe that's the reason why he's trying to get Primo because his other cook is apparently deficient.
Oh yeah, he's completely awful. And when it gets to that final scene where it's sort of like verges on being a play, but filming a play, right? So the camera kind of moves this way and that way, but it kind of stays on the kitchen. So it stays on the stoves. You stay on that butcher block as they eat their breakfast on this butcher block. And it's just eggs and bread. That's it. Mm-hmm. Very simple, very down to earth. Just eggs and bread for breakfast. But it does enough to reconcile between the brothers. But you don't know what's coming next. You don't know if Secundo went to Italy. You don't know if Primo went back to Italy. Yeah. It's just hanging there in the air. And it's one of those endings where it leaves you with a taste of I want to know more. We had this 24, let's call it a 24-hour adventure. What's happening with this restaurant? It's still, the life is in the balance. We haven't solved anything, right? The loans are still there. The bank wants to foreclose this restaurant. The big night was really big in terms of food and getting everybody to enjoy it, but it did nothing for the restaurant.
Yeah. Well,
So-
can you see why the studio, what MGM
Oh
wanted
yeah,
them
I
to
know,
change
I
the
know
ending?
exactly.
Yeah.
I know exactly why the studio wanted a happy ending, because it's 96, and they didn't get it.
Well, which is so odd because you think they would, because this is after the big success of such independent films as Pulp fucking Fiction.
Yep, exactly. You have Pulp Fiction, you have Good Will Hunting coming in a year later, which technically has a happy, not really a happy ending, because Ben Affleck got what he wanted.
Which was because he only wanted Will to leave,
Yeah.
and not in the way that it was just like get the fuck out of here. No, because he knew his friend could do better.
You did tie in loose ends, except for Will Hunting's loose end, but
Yeah, because he left to go out to was it Seattle?
West Coast.
It's wherever Minnie Driver's character went. Yeah.
And I brought it up because it's sort of had that independent film kind of feeling, but it was commercial. And this one, again, it's not technically an independent film, but it has that independent film feel to it. Same as Pulp Fiction, same as Reservoir Dogs, same as a lot of movies around that mid 90s era where you could experiment with something that is both commercial in a way, but the budget was really low, so you could tell like another kind of a story without being like big blowout, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, kind of a 80s action kind of a film, That's
it's sort of a way because the budget wasn't too big, kind of like oddly enough, Dawn of the Dead. No, sorry, not Dawn of the Dead. God, I just forgot the name of the film. I'm thinking of the Spanish name of it. It's the what George Clooney. No, not Desperado.
El Mariachi.
No, not El Mariachi. No, the one where they go to the titty twister. George Clooney.
They go to the what twister?
The titty twister. That's the name of the strip club in it. The Vampires.
Oh, from Dusk Till Dawn?
Dawn. Yeah, I don't know why. Well, I thought Dawn of the Dead.
Where the fuck are you going?
My mind was no, but they had the same issues with the budget constraints were pretty low, so it was kind of an indie tip piece overall.
Yeah, I think so. So. All right. Overall, love this film. I would happily recommend this if you want to just see a story that tells like story within a story, I would say. And it is about the food, but it really isn't about the food. It's something like beyond the food. Is it the best food-based movie? No. For sure, Chef to me is like top rating. But it's up there.
But you can see where Chef got its inspiration from.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When you watch this film,
if you watch Chef before you watch this movie, like I have, you could tell where they drew like different inspirations and what into making Chef what it is. Chef is a much better movie.
Yeah.
The music does it, and it moves. It constantly moves, mostly because it's in a van of food, but that comes a little bit later. But it moves from one place to another, so you have always on the go. So it feels like it's moving. By the way, Chef is longer than this movie by a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, if you paid attention, you might have noticed that in the Missing Marquee, we had Basic Instinct, because next week, Basic Instinct, because July is Verhoeven month.
Yes.
So
gonna be fun.
all the greats are going to be in Verhoeven month. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy because it's Verhoeven.
And I'm missing one of the best ones too.
Yeah, one of the best ones. So next week, ladies and gentlemen, watch Basic Instinct. It's more than just pussy shots of Sharon Stone, and it's more than just the famous sex scene with Michael Douglas. It's way more than that.
It's a great thriller.
It's a way better film than the reputation that it had. A way better film. All right, so you're not going to be here.
Yep.
We're going to have Jay Harang coming in to fill in, and we're going to talk about it. So, guys, watch Basic Instinct, and we'll see you next week. Any famous last words?
No, just go watch Big Night. It's a great movie.
Yeah, go watch Big Night as well. And that's about it. All I can say is hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week.
You're still here? It's over.